Good day, guys. Welcome to Chartered Accountants Academy video lectures. Today we're going to be doing our revision for the CTA level 2 and full-time 2019 test 1 on the Manfin paper. So without going any further, let's get down into detail. So today we're going to be doing required 6. Calculate the weighted average cost of capital of PMHL as at 31 December 2018. So we were asked to calculate the weighted average cost of capital. That means our solution has to have a weighted average cost of capital. So on your solution page, you must have your work calculation. So let's just say this is my work calculation. You have your work here, and then you have your cost here. You have maybe your weights or your debt to equity ratio, and then maybe if you don't have market values, you have your market values here, and then you have your instruments, if you're not marking spellings. So anyway, so let's move on to where we get our information on work. So we have to know, when we're talking about cost of capital, we are looking our capital, we are considering only the long-term sources, right? Only the long-term source of finance. So what is our long-term source of finance? Obviously we're going to have equity, and also we're going to have long-term debt, but we need to go in our scenario to find out which of these items do we have. So if we go to the capital structure over here, so we're told there are 3 million ordinary shares, right, with a nominal value of 50 cents, and the ZSC, this is the share price on the ZSC is the 31 December. So given that we have been told the number of shares, and here we've been told of the price, but then we have two prices. We have this 50 cents and we have a price on the ZSC. Which price should we use? So since we said on our hierarchy of our market of our weights, first of all, it's either we're going to use target debt to equity ratio, right? Sure, you know that. If we don't have that, we're going to use market values, and lastly we're going to use book values. So in this case, if we use 0.5, this is a book value confirmed. And then if you want our market values, we just go on the ZSC and look for the price. So let's look for our price. PMHL is we have clear distillers, we have PMHL, we have PBDC. So our company is PHL, so therefore we're going to take our closing price, which is 2.7. so on our market values, we're going to create our workings, right? So on working 1, we have market values. So for equity, it's going to be 3 million times what? 2.77, right? And then you get your 831023. I don't know if you got that. So if we go here on our solution, we're going to say our market values are on working 1, right? So now we have our market value. Let's see what other information we have. So this information, we have dealt with it. Moving on to note number 2. What does note number 2 give us? So we have fair value, we have debt. So is this debt going to be, is it a permanent source of finance, or is it just a temporary source of finance? So if we read through our scenario, we read that the fair value of the debt is 8.3. But first, before you even consider the fair value or the book value, we need to know whether it's a permanent source of finance. So if we read through, when saying that these debentures they're going to be redeemable in 2021. So in our current year, we are in 2018. So 2021 and 2018, which means it's only left with 3 years. Is 3 years a long-term source of funding? I would say no, because it's just going to be 3 years. But let's look for further information. At which time similar debt will be acquired to replace the debentures being redeemed. Therefore, if these debentures are going to be redeemed and replaced with similar debentures, this means this type of debenture is going to be a long source of finance, because it's going to be 3 years plus another renewal. So therefore, we can consider this debenture. So if you go on our solution, our solution is here. So we have our equity, we have our market value already on equity, right? So on equity, say 8310, and now we have our debenture. Don't know the market value yet. So on our debenture, we're told it's 5,000 debenture at a nominal value of 1,000. So the nominal value, can you confirm that that is our book value, but we want a market value? How do you get a market value? Is it 31 December 2018? So we are told the nominal rate, and then we are told a market rate of 9%, and these debentures are going to be paid semi-annual. Therefore, with this information, can you confirm that we can calculate our PV? PV being the market value as at this date. So what are we going to do? We go on our working. So we have our working, we've dealt with equity. Now we are on debentures. Most of you did the IRR formula, but I don't know what you're looking for. If you're looking for PV, it's simple. You're just going to use a calculator. You have your N, you have your I, you have your future value, and then you have your PMT, which is your periodic payment, and then you have your PV, which is the one you're looking for. So you're going to compute this one. So on this case, we had two methods. Since it's being paid semi-annually, you could either do it. So our debentures have 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. Where is that information? So our debentures are redeemable in 2021, which is 3 years, right? And they're being paid semi-annually. So you could either use either formulas, they could work for you. So our N could either, if you are using annually, our N is going to be 3, and then our I, we are told the market rate is 9.5 or it was 9. Our market rate is 9% and our PMT is 9.5. So our market rate is 9.0, and then our future value, they're going to be redeemed at par, right? So it's going to be 5,000 debentures times the nominal value, which is $1,000, and then for our PMT, it's going to be 5,000 times 1,000 times we are paying 9.5%. So this is on an annual basis. Then you compute our PV. Then if you want to do it on a semi-annual basis, our N, this is now going to be 3 times 2 to accommodate semi-annual, and then our interest is going to be 9/2 to accommodate the semi-annual. Then our future value, it won't change because we're just going to make this payment once off. So just make sure your outflows are in brackets and your inflows are positive, right? And then your PMT is an outflow, so it must also be in brackets. So it's just going to be 5,000 times 1,000 times 9.5% all over 2, and therefore you compute for your PV. Then once you get your PV, for me I got 5064473. So what do we do with this PV? It's an input to our table here, 5064. But then we have another source of debt, because our debt is treated as A and it is B. So we have medium-term loans, and then medium-term loans, we're told the fair value of the debt. Our debenture is a debt, our medium-term loan is a debt. Therefore, if the total debt is 8.37 million, and now that we have the value of the debenture of 5064, we can get our value for this medium term. So for this medium term loan, we're just going to say 8.37 minus 5.064, and obviously you have to detail it in your workings, right? So working on the medium term, we say it is 8.37 minus 5.064, and then what I got was 3.3. So what we do with this, we go with it on our medium term loan, which is 3305. And do we have another source of finance? We don't know yet. So now that we have our market values, it's easy for us to calculate our weights, right? Since there is no more information on the source of finance that we have. So on our weight, this is just your grade 2 math. You do your totals, you add here, and then if you want your weights, it's going to be 8.3. Sorry, let me just erase this. It's 8.310 over xx, and then for weight here 64 over x. Then for weight on medium term is 3305 over x, our x being this xx. Then for cost, what do we have? So we go to our workings. So we are now saying working 2, this is our cost, so that the examiner or the marker can follow whatever that you're going through. So we're going to have, so the easy marks first, right? Cost of debt. How do you get your cost of debt? So for the debentures, what is our cost? On our debentures, we're told that the market would expect to earn an annual interest rate of 9%. So that's our cost already. So the only thing what we have to adjust for is our tax. So our cost of our debenture is just going to be 9% times 1 minus 0.2575. Others, I don't know where you're getting your 28% on tax or what. PMHL was operating in Zimbabwe, and our tax rate in Zimbabwe is this one. This is our tax rate in Zim. So just make sure when you're in Zim, you use Zim principles, unless you are otherwise stated that use this formula. So this is our cost, whatever you get here. For example, let's say you get maybe 7%. We take our 7%, we put it here. So now we have 0.7. And then for our medium term, let's go to our information and see our medium term loans. The interest rate applicable to these loans average a normal interest rate of 9.25%. This is our cost. But then since it's a loan, we're going to get a tax benefit from it. So let's just subtract our tax. It's just the same. Easy marks first. So on our medium term loan, it's just going to be 9.25% times 1 minus 0.2575, and then you get your answer. For example, let's say it's 8%. Where do we take our 8%? We take it to our solution. So you see, this is how you build your solution. 0.78. This is how you build your solution, not just doing everything haphazardly. Just build a solution bit by bit. So now we want our cost of equity, right? Okay. So this is now on our equity. So we know cost of equity. It's either you use the Kapam or you use the Gordon's. So depending on the information that you are given, you need to determine which method to use. So let's look in our solution which information we given. We are told about the treasury bills. What does this give us? Link us to our RF. We are told about market risk premium. What do we have? Our RM. We are given this information. What is it linking us to? our beta. So therefore we're going to use our compound formula. So I'm sure you know the compound formula is cost of equity is equal to RF plus beta RM minus RF. In this case, we are given the equity risk premium, so therefore this is going to be our 6%, right? And then our beta, do we know it yet? We don't, so we just put our beta. And then our RF, what is our RF? We are given a treasury bill redeemable in 2021 and then another treasury bill in 2026. So which one should we use? I hope you got that right. So we use the 2026. Why? Because it is the longest, and thus we are operating as a going concern and going to be operating in the foreseeable future. So we use the longest, which is 2026. So our 2026, this is the nominal rate and this is the market yield. So we're going to use 8.3. So our RF is now 8.93 plus our beta. What do we do with our beta now? Okay, our beta, pardon me, I just wanted to work on this page. So this is our working to on cost of equity, right? So but for you guys, you should put it on your, you should put it over here, right? Using compound, you should put it over here so that the examiner just follows. So if I go back to the scenario, so our beta, right? So we are given a geared beta for Moxim, and we are also given a ungeared beta for PropFest. But then which company best suits us as a proxy? If we go back to our scenario, what does PMHL do? So the main business of the company and its subsidiary is the provision of life pension insurance, health insurance, short-term insurance, reinsurance. Can you tell that this is mostly insurance? And then we have property management and development and wealth management. Okay, so what do our proxy companies do? Let's find out. So Moxim operates in the insurance sector of Zimbabwe and other African countries. All right, so since it sort of meets or it's sort of similar to PMHL, right? Okay, let's see about PropFest. PropFest is in the real estate company which owns property and assets in Zimbabwe, Mauritius, and Europe. Can you see that Moxim best suits our company? It's sort of similar to PMHL since it is in the insurance company and operates in Zimbabwe and other African countries. But Propsim is in the real estate, number one. Also, number two, it's operating in Mauritius and Europe, whereas PMHL is operating in Zimbabwe and other African countries. So therefore, we're going to use Moxim. So the geared beta coefficient is 1.233. So for us, we need to ungear. This one so that it goes to market, and then we re-gear using our own debt to equity ratio. So let's go to our formula on gearing and ungearing. So I'm sure this we have, right? Plus beta RM, and already you have the inputs, right? So on our beta, we're going to say you can use two formulas. I don't know which one you guys are familiar with. You can either use the Amada formula, which says just erase this, which said beta unlevered is equal to beta levered all over 1 plus 1 minus t times the debt to equity ratio. Or another formula is beta ungeared is equal to beta geared times value of equity over value of equity plus value of debt less tax, right? So depending on which one you use, so we were given 1.233 all over 1 plus 1 minus t, which our t we already know is 0.2575, times the debt to equity ratio was 50 over 50. Where did I get that? Let's find out. So we are told the target debt to enterprise value ratio is 50%. So if our debt to enterprise value is 50%, we are saying debt over total equity, total capital, over total capital is equal to 50%. So in other words, is debt over equity plus debt is equal to 50%. Therefore, for us to get 50%, it's going to be 50 over 100, which is equal to 50%. So if we see with this 100, we already know debt is 50, so therefore equity is 50. So our debt to equity ratio is 50 over 50. Confirm? So move on here. It's 50. Our debt to equity ratio is 50 over 50. Then you get your answer. For me, I got 0.707. So this is unlevered gear. So relevering, we're two options here. We're going to use our own debt to equity ratio, right? So which debt to equity ratio do we have? The one I saw was over here. The group's debt to equity ratio was 1.1:1, and most of you guys you use this one. But this one, if we match this to our scenario is calculate the weighted average cost of capital as at 31 December 2018, and this debt to equity ratio is 30 June 2018. So what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to use the debt to equity ratio as at 31 December 2018, and if we use that one, our equity, we have these values. So it's going to be our total equity over what is our total debt. Our total debt, we already told the fair value. So if you get the fair value, we're going to use 8.37. So on relevering, I'm just going to be saying beta ungeared is equal to beta geared over 1 plus 1 plus t times debt to equity ratio. So now we have our 0.07 here, and then we are looking for the beta which is geared, which is 1 plus 1 minus 0.2575 times the debt to equity ratio. So our debt, we have 8.3, and then our equity, we said we had that total XX. So you just calculate this, and then you get your levered gear. So maybe it's going to be 1.2. What do you do with this? You take it to your solution over here. This is now your beta. You now have your 1.2. Confirm. If you're using this formula, it's just simple. Beta geared, beta unlevered is equal to beta geared, which is our 1.23 times value of equity is 50 over value of equity is still 50 plus value of debt is 50 times 1 minus 0.2575. Should get to the same formula, to the same answer, right? So now, where were you guys finding this hard? So if you do your RF plus your beta and your RM, you get your cost of capital, maybe 0.15, for example. What do you do with your 0.15? You take it to your table over here, 0.15. and then you multiply, and then you get your work, then you totalize. This will earn you your marks. This is your solution, so therefore you must reach this stage. But then there's one simple thing that you left out, and that most of you guys left out in your exam. We were told that Moxim is operating in Zimbabwe and other African countries. We took it as our proxy, and then our primary mutual is operating where? Is incorporated in domicile in Zimbabwe. So which company is more riskier, PMHL or Moxim? If Zimbabwean company fails, what is primary mutual going to be operating and making profits? Or if Zimbabwe market falls down or crashes, is Moxim going to be affected? So you can see that PMHL is more riskier than Moxim, as PMHL is only situated in Zimbabwe. Therefore, when we are doing our adjustments here, after we get our beta, we need to make an adjustment. So I call this arbitrary. I'm sure you do mark spellings. Arbitrary adjustments, right? So we're saying PMHL operates solely in Zim, which makes it more riskier. So therefore we're going to add to our beta, right? And the number value we use doesn't matter. What is important is it adding or is subtracting. So it's 0. I just use 0.05. So you must make this adjustment each time in the exam. So I hope you have learned, guys, from this tutorial. If you have any more questions, don't forget to hit our inbox and don't hesitate. We'll be free at Manfin at CAA.ac.zw. Let me just write it here. Manfin at CAA.ac.zw. Wish you all the best in your further studies. Thank you.